internet.
Welcome to the Intoxicated Podcast, a weekly comedy talk show that dives into the personal lives of comedians, experts, and creators. I'm your host, Sarah McClellan, a very amateur stand-up comedian and self-proclaimed sad girl. It's the comedy podcast with a lot of heart. Feel hard and talk hard. This is
The Intoxicated Podcast.
All right, let's do this. We ready, boys?
Go for it.
No.
There's no turning back once we're in.
Oh, God.
I'll try not to
Name
keep
your
us.
sex
Don't eat noisy food.
Jeez Louise.
Amateur.
What did you make hot chocolate or is that coffee and hot
It's a
chocolate?
mocha.
Oh, I love how none of us are drinking booze, but that's okay because
Oh, right.
my show really isn't a drinking podcast anymore.
Oh.
That's right.
It is when it can, like it is when it wants to be.
Yeah.
Intoxicated is short for intoxicating.
But if you look it up in Urban Dictionary,
Yeah.
how my podcast is spelled,
Yeah.
it says when you get lost in conversation and feel drunk.
Oh.
Also, there are lots of different forms of intoxication.
There are.
Yeah. I can't hear you in the mic at all, Rhys.
You can't hear me at all. I can see my waveform.
Rhys
We're
just goes
all-
home and stares at his own waveform.
We are all professionals. Every single one of us here today.
I don't know about that.
Jesse sends pictures of his waveform to women on social media.
They love it.
Unsolicited waveform pics.
Welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast, everyone. Oh my gosh. This has been, I say this every time with every single guest, but I mean it. It's been a long time coming
Yeah.
to have you guys on. And this is a really special episode because I'm with other podcasters, baby, and comedians. You're both comedians in your own way, right?
Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't, I mean, he's dancing like that, so I wouldn't say he was a comedian. But
You got to watch the video episode.
Yeah.
I am here with Rhys and Jesse of Canadian Politics is Boring.
Hello.
thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
And I should say, we are not in Sad Girl Studios. We are in Podstarter Studios.
There's
Am I allowed to plug it?
a sad
Yeah,
girl
yeah.
studio.
Yeah, that's my home studio is called Sad Girl Studios.
That's
Oh.
sad.
I think the clue's in the name there.
yeah.
Why did that name make me feel sad? It all sounded fine out there.
Don't you love entering a conversation not knowing if anything's wrong or not?
Right?
It's the best kind of conversation. You don't know where it's going to go.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a,
thank
it's
you.
a cold, dark, and dreary day outside. And coming to do this podcast with a mocha in my hand and a nice warm environment to sit in brings a little tiny bit of joy to my day.
We are all drinking different things. Jesse, you are drinking, what are you drinking?
A mocha.
And-
Homemade coffee and hot chocolate, baby.
And Rhys, you got a lime bubbly
Lime bubbly.
and Red Bull. So we're going to bring it in for a cheers.
Cheers.
Listen, it is really cold out, but I want to say you guys inspired me to do a daily show.
We don't do it. Oh, I suppose we do Wafakak. But
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't.
A daily show for,
what was
for a
it?
period of time, I guess.
What was it? The exhaustion or the inability to function on a day-to-day basis
Well,
that inspired you?
Well, Rhys pitched it like, it'll help grow your show. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I do see some growth, but it's just, yeah, you're right. It is exhausting.
It is, yeah.
It is a lot. How are you guys finding Wafakak?
I'm great.
Yeah, Jesse's good because he doesn't do any of the writing or the editing. So
You just show up and be
my
funny.
job.
he just turns
And that's
up.
it.
I have to address the elephant in the room. What's with the sunglasses?
Yeah, we should address this for the video.
I was
viewers.
just on a live stream for 90 minutes and I was trying to disguise my appearance because everyone was, because nobody really, everyone felt shame for being there. I won't go into any more detail on what it was. I'll leave it there. And I had a headache, so I was like, I'm going to keep it on because the light was hurting my eyes. And
Oh, that's like
and I
migraine.
quite like it. I quite like it as a look. I might keep it.
They have they
that's
have
good.
things out now that are called like headache helmets.
This is mine.
You put a helmet on and it gives you a headache.
But they're like the soft cushions for your
nails
head.
poke into your head.
And it like tucks in on like pressure points on your head and it's supposed to help with headaches.
No.
So it's kind
That's
of a
what
cool
this
thing.
is, I guess. I got
Yeah.
headphones pressing in on top so I can't hear myself, sunglasses, and then just my head is being heated up.
There's an interesting technique that actually works. It's for specific types of headaches, but when you can feel the pain on the sides, if you feel for a little vein right along your temple and you take your 2 fingers on either side and you just kind of press in and collapse that vein.
God.
It's instant pain relief.
Really?
Yes. Not for all headaches, but for like a very specific type of headache, instant. I've had people be like, wow, oh my God, it works. But the second you remove your fingers, the pain comes back.
Or a nail gun up the nose does it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does other things as well.
I just feel like, yeah, that could go wrong very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cut off the blood to your brain.
If you push in the wrong, because didn't someone say, growing up, I always thought that if you put pressure on your temples, you'd pass out. I've heard that.
Or you can move things with your mind.
Yeah.
We'll try it. But tell the listeners about your podcast. So,
Oh, God.
well,
You can tell how excited we are to talk about it.
what is Canadian politics? For anyone who's not listening yet, which you should be, check it out. It's great. What is the elevator pitch for Canadian politics is boring?
Do you
All
wanna,
right.
Do you want to do it? Or
I'll
should
do
I
it. Yeah,
You
yeah.
do it.
So Rhys and I have known each other for a few years now, and we just got along right away, and we knew that we had similar comedic tastes. And Rhys would constantly call me and say, hey, let's do this podcast. Let's do this. He came up with all kinds of different concepts for podcasts. And every single time I'd be like, yes, let's do that. And it would never come to fruition. And like we got like 6 or 7 concepts under his belt. And I was like, rearing to go, let's do them. They sound hilarious. And none of them happened. And then one day he called me up. He's like, I want to do a comedic political podcast about Canadian politics. And I'm like, no, man, Canadian politics is boring. And he thought that was hilarious. And he would not let me not do it. Like I literally argued with him for a good half hour on the phone. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And he wouldn't drop it. He was like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Especially with the name drop, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Did that clue in when he said,
Yeah, because like I like comedy, most comedy or like a lot of good comedy or some comedy even comes from conflict, and the fact he hated it and didn't want to do it was like, well, that's cool. Rather than people turning up to talk about stuff that they want to talk about, force them to learn about things they hate, and
you need the
and it'll be fun.
reluctant host.
Exactly, yeah. I got to
Force them
drag
to-
him
yeah.
through Canadian politics, kicking and screaming, poking him in the eye.
Now and then
That's what the show
you'll
is.
actually give me like just straight up education that's boring.
He remembers stuff now.
I do. I'm upset about this. I never wanted to be a historian at all. Or I suppose I'm not a historian. You're like,
It's a bit much. It's a bit tall order.
If you do listen to our show, you will be a historian. That's a promise.
no word of a lie. We had one guy who was in a political science class, and he said he learned more from our podcast than he did his own university lectures.
It's just, I think that's more of an indication of the state of education.
Yeah.
Do you guys see yourself doing a guest lecture at a university someday?
If they pay us, we'll do anything.
Yeah.
Do a live
Anything.
podcast from a...
I would love to go to like a political science school somewhere and do one of our shows.
Oh my God.
That'd be amazing.
And then just like watch 95% of the people walk out and then just have a really good time with the remaining 5%.
You walk them like at a comedy show?
Yeah.
When someone doesn't like it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. And so how long has this show been going?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
It will
In March.
be 2 years in March, and we've done just over 160 episodes.
There you go. My gosh.
So-
Well, like number one, like what a brand. Like you guys do great branding, marketing, like promotion, everything. And you have a really good fan base too. Like people freaking love you guys.
We've
right?
got some super fans.
You got some
Yeah.
super fans. And
We do.
so one thing I love about this, I'm gonna tell the
So
listeners.
yeah, it's like it's we have a very small amount of super fans, but they are super fans.
Well, you know you have a super fan when they request merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That's a
happened.
weird one. And the fan art, we get fan art, which is cool. And people,
Amazing.
especially Wafukak, the Winter Festival of Underlined Celebration Advent Calendar.
There you go.
People,
Gets it every
people
time.
get
Oh my
really
gosh,
into
how
it.
did you come up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I fell
Was it
o-
just
I-
said and then
I
you thought of the
I
abbreviation?
fell over and I banged my head. And then No,
He was standing on a toilet trying to fix a clock in his bathroom, and he slipped and hit his head. And he came. That's how he came up with the concept for the flux capacitor, which is what makes Wafukak possible.
But then I couldn't find any uranium, so we did Wafukak instead. But it was supposed to be making fun of, people say war on Christmas.
Yes.
That there is a war on Christmas. And there isn't. It was supposed to be making fun by creating a fake kind of alternative to Christmas, just to make those people angry. And then it became something else where we created this whole every day has its own mythology, and is it the day of this and the day of that, and it's kind of spiraled out of control. And after the first year I didn't want to do it again, but everyone kept asking about,
I told you, as soon as it ended, I knew I didn't want to do this is going to become an annual thing because people are going to be asking about it.
But if we didn't do it, there would have been like
outrage.
The people who were really into it would have been so outraged. I think they would have just stopped listening. So we've been peer pressured into doing 25 daily shows.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just sigh because I feel it. Like I didn't think it would be as bad. Like bulk recording. Like I record essentially twice a week for mine. Like in bulk. So I do like 3 or 4 per week or whatever. And it's exhausting. Like you don't realize, you're like, it's easy. We'll bulk record them and then just release them. And then it's like, you have to come up with stuff to talk about every time. And it's just like, it made me realize how boring I am.
Oh, gee, you're not boring. Oh my God.
It's not. Is the overwhelming constant demand for new content?
Yeah.
It's not that you're boring. It's how hungry the audience is. Yeah. That's the problem.
Just what are we gonna do next? I'm just like a Marry Fuck Kill episode, or like we'll do a conspiracy episode. Like it's just like we're just pulling from everywhere.
Like I just learned this today. Just totally. I don't even know why this popped into my head. Fucking. Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world by a huge. Like before, it was fucking Jeff Bezos by he was making like $196 billion was his net worth, and now Elon Musk is close to 300 billion just overnight, just somehow. I don't even know how it happened. Just like,
is that shocking?
A little bit, yeah. $300 billion is an insane. You have no idea
but
how much money that actually is.
Nowhere near as much as Scrooge McDuck. He can swim in it. But most of it's like inflated. Is the value of his companies. It's not that you think about Amazon touches most people's lives if you choose to buy Amazon, whereas like Tesla and SpaceX,
Amazon. Oh my God,
they're just incredibly highly valued. So if the stock market crashed, he'd lose.
Right.
I think that's my understanding of it. I could be talking shit. But
I kind of like Elon Musk just because if there was ever going to be a real world example of Iron Man, he would.
No, but that's what he wants you to think. Joe, I'm gonna come back to this for my unpopular opinion.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Yes, save it.
All right,
save it.
Right.
So I want to get to know you guys a bit better. So I know you guys as the hosts, but I don't know too much about you more so. But yeah, we'll get there. We're gonna start with the assumption segment.
All right.
Which is and I've been famously bad at this segment.
Oh, okay.
Throughout the show, like people say that my assumptions are really lame.
So, I'm kind of hoping they're spiced.
I'm looking forward to your
tournament.
assumption about Jesse.
Yeah, I'm hoping these are like salacious at least.
Not really. Okay, so
right.
I'll start. So I think, and this might just be fact. I don't know, but I'm gonna assume that you are someone who sleeps until at least noon.
It depends, honestly.
Sometimes he stays up all night.
So I'm naturally a night owl, which actually has a scientific name called I have delayed sleep phase syndrome.
Oh yes, I know that.
You do know that. So it's the normally in a normal person, melatonin's released sometime in the evening, depending on how much sun you got and what time of year it is, et cetera, which gives you the sensation of feeling tired, and then you go to bed and sleep for however many hours. That normally is not released into my system until 3 or 4 in the morning. So I'm wide awake, and so yes, I'm just left to my own devices. I'll be wide awake until 4 o'clock in the morning, and I will sleep until noon. But I fight it. I take melatonin and I like slowly bring my sleep schedule back so that I can be up at a normal hour and function. So I got up at 6:30 in the morning today. I did not get good sleep and I was cranky all day, but like I got up.
That's good. Okay, so I was kind of right.
Kind of right.
That was a good assumption.
It was a good assumption.
But then for you, and this is probably just because you have kids, I assume that you're a morning person.
Fuck those kids.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he's up at 2 p.m. every day. The kids are scrambling. Daddy, feed us,
Make your own lunch for school.
Daddy's not getting out of bed for you or anybody.
But like before kids, were you a morning person?
Yeah.
Yeah, still.
Even like, I think when I was a teenager, I would like probably be a late person, but I don't know why. Like even when I was like in my early 20s, I would be maybe at my desk by 7:30.
Right.
But now, but I don't know why. I used to only need about 5 or 6 hours sleep. When I was working like on TV projects, sometimes I would go, shit, there's a really big deadline. So I need to work through the night, and I could skip a whole night's sleep and be fine as long as I got a good night's sleep the following night.
There's only one thing that I can think of right now, and it's just I can't get it out of my head. And that's that hat must be so hot, but he's committing. He's committing to the bit.
Sticking with
Are
it.
your ears,
There's a test of
ears
endurance.
sweating yet? Are
He's
your ears
suffering,
sweating?
and he's like, I've got to commit to this.
Most people, lose body heat through their head. I don't. It all goes out my feet. So.
I hate hot feet.
That's why people call you Hot Foot.
That's why they smell.
It's called a hot foot.
Hot Foot and Sweaty Toes.
Hot foot. Smelly bastard. That's what I call it. But yeah, as I'm getting older, though, I'm losing that ability.
What time do you pass out at night?
Some people call that
this
just going to sleep.
This drives my wife crazy. Right now, if I laid down on the floor and closed my eyes, I would just go to sleep.
That's insane.
I've got the ability to go to sleep pretty much anywhere, anytime. I will. So whatever time I choose, pretty much.
Is that just because like
That's unhealthy.
you're just exhausted all the time? Yeah, doesn't sound healthy.
No, my dad does the same. My dad's really busy.
Doesn't make it better.
No. But like, if my dad sits still, he'll fall asleep. So he has to do stuff to not fall asleep.
It's so
It actually
funny.
does sound bad now when I say it out loud.
Because I'm on new meds, and one of the side effects is insomnia.
Oh, shit.
And I read up about it being like, and it was just like it was a widely common side effect.
That's
and I'm like, it's so funny to me because I'm kind of the same. Like my issue is that I don't go to bed. Once I'm in bed and I close the eyes, I'm out.
The eyes or your eyes? Do you
The
like
eyes
reach
of-
out and
the
like
eyes
pick-
of the other
like,
Sarah.
like purposely closing your own eyes? I'm
That's
closing the
terrifying.
eyes. Now it is time for the sleep.
But usually like,
tweezers.
Just lie down and scream at your body. Sleep!
it's the other me. I just
The clone's time to come out.
plug her into the wall at the end of the night.
I really want to try biphasic sleep. I want to try it sometime.
What's that?
Yeah,
So-
you need to explain what that is. It's like you drop that in, like, to sound smart because you knew we wouldn't know what it is.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Yeah.
Do explain.
Speaking of assumptions,
Tell
he knows
us
it
more
too
about
well.
that,
Yeah. I was
Jesse.
going to explain it.
Yeah, I'm going to try geometric sleep.
Geometric.
I just want you guys to think I'm smart.
What is this?
Smart and pretty. So there's a theory reading through like pretty much the older journals and diaries and books and pretty much anything they can get their hands on from many, many hundreds of years ago. Historians and anthropologists kind of have a theory that we did not sleep 8 hours a night because the sun is not down for 8 hours a night and there was no electricity. There was candles, but candle, you have to be really rich to have a lot of candles to have like really well lit area or like hang up by the fire. So like it was dark for a lot longer than 8 hours, right?
Right.
So what they found through studying writings, not readings, right?
Carvings.
Is that people would go to bed, sleep for about 4 hours, and then they like in the middle of the night they'd wake up and they'd just putter around for like 2 to 3 hours, and then they'd go to bed again for another 4 hours.
Like
they'd
two sleeps.
Yeah, 2 sleeps. They'd wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, maybe 1 in the morning, somewhere around that, and then they'd like pray or they'd write or they'd go and visit a neighbor because chances are they were also awake and they just sit and have tea.
And
right?
what? So this would be like 4 a.m. Oh, no, maybe even earlier.
Earlier, yeah. And then
Was
just
it
putter
like the
around for,
Industrial
a couple
Revolution
hours.
that forced people to...
I think it was.
Just
honestly.
exhaustion from doing 12 hours. Yeah, I'm 6 years old. I've just done 12 hours in a factory. I'm going to sleep through. Otherwise, I'll be
Honestly,
grumpy tomorrow.
yeah, right?
Because there's this. I read this thing once that the like peasants in France in the Middle Ages used to hibernate like bears, where they would like stockpile food and then just try and sleep and not use much energy. I don't know if it's true, but I like that idea.
never heard
I'm going to
that
try
before.
hibernating one year.
All right.
I look like I'm getting ready
phase.
for it.
Yeah.
That's wild. What's it called again?
Biphasic sleep.
Biphasic.
Geometric sleep.
Geometric sleep. that's Rhys, how Rhys sleeps, yeah.
I feel like that wouldn't, like, waking up in the middle of the night when it's dark, like, and then
Well,
trying to be awake.
Have you ever woken up in the middle of your sleep and couldn't get back to sleep?
Not recently.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yes.
It's
So
happened.
that's what scientists assume is happening. Is your body's like, it's time for a little break from sleep, and then a couple hours later, your body's ready for another go at it.
You should try having 3 kids and a puppy.
There's no fucking.
It would
thank you.
be quad metric sleep because you literally just get an hour and a half, somebody wakes up, hour and a half, somebody wakes up, hour and a half, somebody wakes up.
Oh my God. Does the puppy bark at you? Is that how she wakes
She
you up?
barks at the door, which basically in dog speak means I need a shit.
And Rhys's puppy's bark has bite.
Yeah, it just makes you jump.
It is like a sharp. And every time she barks, because when she comes to the office, I'll just be chilling on my computer, and then when she barks, it scares me every time
Everyone's like,
because it's so loud.
That's really funny.
And she's such this little cutie that you don't
She's
expect it from her.
adorable. She's the cutest puppy ever. I haven't heard her bark yet.
she does.
It's sharp.
I want another assumption.
Okay, my other assumption is
You went
you
to?
are
Okay.
an extrovert and you're an introvert.
Just I've heard different descriptions of what these mean today. So can you describe what?
Extroverts get their energy from being around other people. Introverts recharge from being alone.
I think sometimes I can be quite extroverted. I think I'm quite selective. I think I flip back and forth.
I do too.
You'd
so
be a mix.
I get
Yeah.
my energy from being alone. I very, very much value my alone time so that I can go out and be around groups of people and
Right.
socialize and stuff like that. So I expend my energy with other people, but I get that energy back by going home and being by myself for a very long period of time.
See, I kind of do like being around people. And one of the things my wife always says is that I will literally talk to anyone and just start making a friendship with random people.
Yeah.
Like we're in an
Bob the
elevator
mailman.
together. Like,
We're in
let's
an
be
elevator
friends
together. You're my new friend.
Exactly. So, which is why
like-
Nova Scotia is a great place to live because people are in the UK. People look at you like you're about to mug them if you talk to them.
Well,
I like to use the birthday example. Like, what would you do on your birthday? Your ideal birthday? Is it like, I want to have a lot of friends around me and have a party? Or is it like, I want to go away and like be in the
I
woods?
want to hang out with friends, of course. Yeah.
I just want to hang out. Yeah, like me and
Okay.
me and my family will just like play mini golf. Maybe I don't know.
Mini golf. That's your ideal birthday?
Yeah. Mini golf.
Jesse's face.
Mini golf on a Montana's. So that's how I like to party.
Jesse, what's your ideal birthday?
Oh my God. Well, for my 40th birthday, I had a real man party.
A
Is that what
real
it is?
man party.
So
Sounds like an orgy.
So what? Yeah, right. So my nephew Jackson years ago.
I like the sound effects.
My nephew Jackson years ago. I asked him, "How old are you, Jackson?" And he's like, "I'm 7." And I'm like, "How old am I?" And he's like, "You're 39, and next month you turn 40, and that's when you turn into a real man." Straight from my nephew.
Do you know, I kind of think that's true though, because I think men mature so slowly.
It's true.
Oh yeah, but just
you
to
kind
think
of-
that
it takes you to
this
grow
kid,
up.
Like thoroughly believed that that's when you turn into a real man.
He's
is
very
40.
wise.
Like I didn't tell him that. I didn't tell him to say that. He just said this at 7 years old. That when you hit 40, you turn into a real man. So I laughed. I thought this was the greatest thing I've ever been told. And I told my friends, and they're like, "We're throwing a real man party." So like, it was supposed to start like 9 a.m. with me fighting an MMA fighter in a ring. Yeah, he had a big list of all.
Sounds really elaborate.
Oh, it was. Yeah. But like, fortunately, thank God that the guy had to cancel, and so I didn't do that. So we immediately went to the gun.
Do you have
range.
any MMA experience?
No,
or was that the funniness of it?
That was the fun. Well, I have martial arts training, but I don't have MMA experience. No,
Capoeira.
I have capoeira. Yeah. Which is like
dance fight.
It's dance fighting. Yes, it's dance fighting. Thank you, Rhys, for bringing that up. That's how you do it. But we went and shot guns at a gun range. That was fun. I've never done that before. Never fired a gun. And then we went and threw axes and then played pool and darts and poker and drank scotch. And it was just...
Dear Lord.
It was great.
That's a lot of...
It was amazing.
Testosterone
Oh, yeah, it was
activities.
Wonderful.
My Lord.
I loved it.
Okay. And I think...
Give us a dirty assumption about both of us. Come on.
I can't
He's
do
your
that.
boss, I know. But like, he doesn't care.
What's a dirty assumption?
Yeah, Jesse, stop. What are you trying to
I assume...
do? Some good dirty assumption.
Well, Rhys...
Jesse doesn't wipe. That's my assumption.
See, there
He
we
just
go.
lets it
I
sit
needed you
and
to,
walks
I
around
needed you to
with
do it. Is that true or not true, Jesse?
No, I carry around a little plastic hose with me, and I do a personal bidet instead of wiping. So I just
A hose?
Yeah.
You don't have a tushy? Have you ever heard the tushies?
I have. Yeah, they're too expensive for me. I just use a dirty plastic hose. It's fine.
Or a pressure washer.
This is how...
Super soaker.
This is how Is it? I keep wanting to say Omicorn, but I know it's Omicorn.
Oh, I'm calling it Omicorn from now on.
Is it Omicorn?
Omicron.
It's Omicron.
Omicron.
Yeah,
I was calling
I like
it
Omicron
Transformers.
better.
See, I was calling it Omnicron
that's how I first was.
from the seventh nebulae.
It is a Decepticon.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, Rhys is a married man. You're a single man.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts on how to get Jesse a partner?
I don't think.
Or get him
I
out
think that's a
there.
bad idea. I don't think he's designed.
Have you ever wingmanned him?
He
No.
thinks it's a
Or
bad idea.
Have you tried?
Unless he wants somebody with like surrounded by kids with a puppy on a lead and to use that.
This is my thing. Like 30s and 40s is tricky because like people stop setting you up. Like your friends stop setting you up. At
Nobody's
these
ever
ages.
set me up.
I don't think.
No.
I think I don't think I'd do that to somebody to set him up with Jesse. I just think
I'm very
I
curious
imagine
who you'd set me up with.
I don't know. I imagine Jesse. You quite like your life. I think you quite enjoy being single.
Ooh.
And I don't think that you feel.
No,
That's a good assumption, though.
I'd like to eventually find someone. Of course, I don't want to be single my whole life. I do enjoy. I do enjoy not having the cookie cutter house with 15 children, 3 dogs, and half.
You don't have
a
to have
fence.
15.
15 is a lot.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of
15 is a
kids.
lot of kids.
Yeah.
My gosh.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, how do I put it? I like the idea of partnering up with someone who I am really compatible with to grow a life together. But I've known several people throughout my life who need to be with someone.
Right.
They
And that's
need
not
it.
you.
That's not me. No.
Good.
And because they need to be with someone, that need trumps them having any good qualities.
Or like
Yeah.
passions. Like,
Yeah. Right. So
like honestly, like
I'm willing to wait.
Rhys has it good because you have love.
Yeah.
But
We assume.
but
We
you
don't
also like you have all these passions and you're working in your passion fields.
Yeah.
So you have the best of both worlds.
Well, I was lucky because the person you're describing I met when I was 17 years old.
It's amazing.
We got engaged when we were 19. We bought a house. We traveled. Then we bought.
Oh, you're one of those.
17?
You're one of those lucky fuckers.
Then we bought a house together when we were like 25. We had
Dear
our first
Lord.
kid when we were
One of those
27.
people.
My God.
I'm like, yeah.
I've met them. I've met a few people like this.
So
Like,
I gotta go and set up a podcast company. It's crazy. And then I was like, yeah, you could do it, and like we could support each other.
I've stopped counting the amount of horseshoes up Rhys's ass.
But honestly, like, we've been together like we've been together like 20 years, and I'm only
That's
37.
wild.
But neither of us could imagine a scenario where we don't have that relationship. I guess so. Yeah,
It's really sometimes things work out.
and I'm not saying it's the norm,
Rhys is
and I'm
a
not saying
success
that's for
story.
everyone. It's just.
And you
it's-
met in real life, not on
Yeah,
17.
we were set up by friends.
Really?
Yeah.
In like high school?
It would have been so they kick you out of school when you're 16 in the UK, and
Like
they
literally kick you out.
Yeah,
they like
fuck
throw
off.
you out of the school.
We've done all we can with you. Go and clean
Get
some
out here.
windows or something. So they kick you out, and then you can go to like a thing called like sixth form college that bridges you up till you go to university when you're like 18. And we met there. So
What is it?
So it's like a transition school between
yeah,
school
it's
and
like kind of
college?
2 years of school.
That's very cool. Why don't we have that here?
Do they teach you like money skills?
No.
Because I feel
Nobody
like
teaches you actual things you need to know as an adult.
I know. I feel like that's something that was wildly missed. Like here's what a credit card is and how to use it.
Or a mortgage.
Right?
This is
Instead
what a
of-
mortgage or
Oh,
rent.
I went through.
Yeah.
I just learned about. Like, I spent a good month this past year because I've been a poor artist most of my life. I just didn't do my taxes, which is not something I should be admitting
Somehow
publicly.
that should have been an assumption of mine.
Right, yeah. And eventually, like, all my taxes were done and filed. And I'm like, God, I should really learn how to do my own taxes. And I spent like a month just teaching myself. I'm like, oh, wow, this is complicated as fuck.
Yeah.
But I know now. And like, I know about credit. And
Ugh.
like, no, but like, I understand how credit works. In like the assumptions we have about credit are totally wrong. Like it's
Ooh.
yeah, it's really neat. Like if you want to build your credit score, the shit that I learned was like, what? Oh my God.
Like that you have to actually use credit to, like if you have a credit card and don't use it, that's bad.
Yeah. So can I give you an example?
Yes, please
this
do.
is, I mean, totally wildly off topic, but like if you want
So I
to
love this financial podcast.
No, hey, broke comedians listening, listen.
so if you
listen
want
to Jesse.
build credit, it's every month, if you pay a debt to a creditor, it's that simple equation. Pay a debt to a creditor, okay? Your credit score goes up.
Make regular payments.
So if you have a bunch of monthly payments, Netflix, Disney Plus, Google Drive, whatever, right? And you put them you put those three onto one credit card, okay? By the end of the month, you're paying one debt to one creditor. But if you get three separate credit cards and you put Netflix on one, Disney Plus on the other, Google Drive on the third, by the end of the month, you're paying off three debts to three separate creditors, which means that your credit score will go up 3 times the power of 3, as opposed to if you put everything onto one credit card.
Oh, okay.
It's just one.
Interesting.
Doesn't matter if you have $1,000 of debt every single month from 1,000 different things, and you're paying it off from one credit card. That's one bump every month, one single bump. But if you stretch it out over 20 fucking credit cards, you're getting 20 bumps on your credit score every single month.
Sounds like a lot of admin.
I mean, like, no, I got two credit cards, and I set it up so that it automatically, like say like Netflix, or as an example, it automatically charges to this credit card, and then I have my bank just automatically pay whatever my Netflix thing is every month. So I don't even think about it. I just put it in a fucking drawer. I don't use it, right? But every single month it's being charged and then paid off automatically. I don't touch it.
It just evens out.
Even though.
And now you've got
like, bam.
insane credit.
Well, over years, yeah, it'll be like I'm going to get more credit cards and just keep doing this. And so that,
What Jesse's saying is apply for every single credit card.
yeah.
Because what's the harm in applying, right? Just
never-
apply
you
and see what happens.
The
buy
last
some
thing
hats.
is you got to keep your limit as low as possible, because
Oh, yeah.
if it's a high
I've
limit,
learned
even
that.
if you're not even if you're not using it, other people who like the only reason you want high credit is to get a car or to get a house or to get a business loan. That's it. That's
Yes,
it,
exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And those people will see, like, even if you have like only $50 in like credit, but you have a credit limit of $500,000, they could be like, you could get drunk and go to fucking Vegas tomorrow and suddenly be in debt for $500,000. I don't want to give you a car because that's a risk, right? But if you're so like you want to keep all your limits as low as possible. Anyway, there's your financial.
That was tax time with Jesse.
He'll be back next week with more advice.
A new segment on Intoxicated. Tax time. You bring a new tax tip every time.
But tell me, like, that's shit that people should know, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, it
I
really,
didn't know.
is. I
Don't want you to know.
I truly abuse credit cards so much. It's really bad.
I honestly believe, though, that it's purposeful that you don't really understand it, because
It's a messed up thing.
Yeah. I think
You
a
just
lot of
spend
people
money
make
you
a
don't
lot.
have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If they said, in schools now if politicians said in schools we're gonna do this whole thing so people know how to not end up owing lots of money, you'd have a bunch of lobbyists from the banks going, what are you playing at? If you educate everyone to use their money and everything in this way, then we're gonna our profits are gonna drop. Do you really want to do that to us? We'll stop donating to your campaign.
Yeah.
I think ignorance is useful. Personally, I sound like a real conspiracy theorist.
No, I think a lot of conspiracy theorists are based around gut emotions that have kind of manipulated the system into what it is. I don't think it's a bunch of men in hooded robes going.
Well, those lobbyists are definitely aliens.
Well, yeah.
That reminds me. Do you guys have a favorite conspiracy theory?
Yes.
Out of all of them, because there's a lot.
I do.
I have one that I like if I were to ever like be on the fence about.
Oh, like one that you're like, it could be true?
I believe it, but like I believe what everyone truly believes. But as far as the conspiracy theories, like that we landed on the moon, that we faked it. It was like I believe we landed on the moon. I believe that, right? I know we did. I know in my hearts. But if I had someone sit me down and give me the conspiracy theory, I might be like, oh, maybe, because honestly, it's not that
no, it's
far-fetched.
not that far. It's actually not. Yeah.
Like back then, there was like around the Cold War, right? And there was the race with Russia, and like, what is cheaper, figuring out how to go to the fucking moon or building a fucking you know what I mean? Like, it's
studio. Yeah,
studio. Like, again, I believe we went to the moon. I do believe that.
There is a ton of there is a ton of proof. There's like they left a reflector that you can actually shine a laser beam at and it bounces back.
Oh wow!
If you know the
that's
coordinates.
fucking cool. Okay.
So like there's
like I said,
and you can see
believe it.
and you can see this
it.
stuff if you've got a good telescope because they left a load of shit on the moon, like golf clubs
That's pretty
and stuff.
neat. That's really cool.
Do you have a favorite one, Rhys?
Yes. So I once interviewed you know the Men Who Stare at Goats, the film.
That was amazing.
Film with George Clooney. George Clooney's in it.
I know. I've never seen that.
So it's about
see
a
it.
secret CIA program that was true.
It's
but
true.
I actually got to interview someone who was in that program.
What?
And they trained as a remote viewer. So remote viewing is where you sit in a room and they give you some coordinates and you have to sit there and think about those coordinates and then you draw a picture. And the idea is it's like you can psychically draw almost like satellite photos or objects or things that are there. And this man was on that program. And even though it was the only reason the CIA did it is because they heard that the KGB could do it, even though that was misinformation from the KGB to trick the CIA. But this guy, he still 100% believed he could do remote viewing. And he
that you interviewed.
And yeah, we interviewed him for a show, and he was like, I can see pyramids on the moon, there's temples, there's hieroglyphics, there's all this stuff on the moon, and on Mars, there's all this stuff on Mars too. And he even went as far to say that the CIA were trying to get him to learn how to telepathically communicate with dolphins, because then the next stage would be to telepathically communicate with aliens, because dolphins are aliens or whatever. It makes so much sense. But I love it just because I got to meet someone who actually was in a CIA.
That's so wild.
It was just fascinating.
I really believe that. I truly do believe that there is not very, very much holding us back from insanity.
No, I don't. Just so you know, I don't believe any of that.
No.
But
he did is my point.
Yeah, no.
Right?
He was, but it was his life's work. He'd written books. He does tours. He speaks publicly about
confirmation bias is fucking powerful. If you believe something, you will find proof.
Yeah, you'll find.
Yeah.
You'll see what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of fucking. It's crazy. And
it's like that time Tim Horton in the Tim Hortons in Cape Breton where Jesus appeared on the wall.
Yeah.
If you want to see it,
Yeah.
if you want to see it, it's going to be there until somebody cleaned the bulb on the light.
Satan cleaned the bulb.
Who cleaned off the Jesus smudge?
My favorite conspiracy also involves the moon. This is not one that I believe, but I want to be true.
Okay.
That the moon is a spaceship watching us.
Do you know what, though? It's interesting that the solar eclipse, the moon is the exact same size to block the sun out. That's weird.
That is weird.
That is a little weird.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
That is yeah.
Almost
Hurts my
like
brain a bit.
perfectly.
Do you guys believe we are in a simulation?
I want to.
Well, we are, even in our own minds. So what we see isn't what is actually happening. Is what the senses in our eyes are telling our brain exists.
Sure.
So we already do live in a simulation.
I've never really. All right. I guess.
But if not, like, I don't know.
Like a computer simulation.
I like the, because people talk about afterlife and heaven and hell and everything. I like the idea that kind of when you do die, you kind of, maybe you do wake up and they go, oh, that was good. You got a good score. Please sanitize your hands.
Like based on how you live your life?
Please sanitize your headset for the next person.
What?
You know, it would be like, that would be cool, but it's also simultaneously terrifying.
I heard a really interesting thought experiment on, I guess it's not really a thought experiment, but just like a thing on living within computer simulations, being a civilization that is smart enough to be able to build a computer simulation that a consciousness can live inside, like the Matrix, right? Like as if we are programs inside of a computer simulation right now, and we are consciousness within that simulation, right?
Who's controlling it?
I don't know. It's another civilization.
Windows 95.
Like if we, yeah, right? Like if we...
Some people are on Windows 95, others are like iOS.
If we created a computer that was powerful enough to create inside of it a simulation as realistic as this world itself and put in consciousness inside of that world to live in that simulation, it would be like we are living in it right now. So are we living in a computer simulation that another world has built for us? Okay. So the ongoing theory, the top theory is no. And the reason is really quite fascinating. It's a stack theory. Okay. So assuming that if a civilization is capable of building a simulation that is as realistic as this world is around us, okay, and capable of creating consciousness within it, okay, then theoretically that simulation that they create will be smart enough to be able to program its own simulation. So it's a simulation within a simulation, and so forth and so on. And that simulation will be able to create a simulation, and that simulation will be able to create a simulation. So if we, let's say there's, 500 simulations within themselves, within this stack, we as a civilization have not done that yet. We have not created a computer that is smart enough and capable of creating a simulation with consciousness that is able to live inside that simulation and doesn't know any better. We have not done that yet, right?
Sea monkeys.
So, hold on. That means that we are either at the top of the stack, we haven't made any simulation yet, and so
or we're at the bottom.
Or at the very bottom.
Where we're the last.
And
or the middle.
What proof?
Or the middle, and we just don't know.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, like, here's my thing. People who believe this, people who believe that we are in a simulation, what proof do they have?
There's no proof.
It's
all theory. It's
what
theory.
Makes them think that? Just the idea
if
of
you
it?
press LLXXYY, you're invincible.
There's a guy in Silicon Valley, I forget his name, but he is one of the top programmers for creating simulations in Silicon Valley, and he was interviewed and asked, do you believe we're living in a simulation? And he's like, I can't prove it, but there's definitely something happening. Like, it's so,
Of course he's going to say that, though. He wants more funding.
It is more...
So the grant application, he's not going to be, I know that none of this is true, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's going to be like, there are mysteries.
My God.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to think about.
But
it hurts my brain.
But if the stack theory is true, statistically speaking, we're not in one.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Right?
Or
you don't sound this smart on our show.
Because we talk about fucking boring politics.
Jesse,
My brain hurts from the science.
You and I have talked about sleep before. And like the idea of like lucid dreaming and how you can eventually like control your dreams.
I've never done it. I want to.
And I heard that a way you can get to do it is if you do like reality checks all the time throughout the day.
Yep, I've heard this.
So like, this is my hand. This is my hand here. Mm-hmm. And then, but if you're in a dream and you touch your hand will go through your hand. And so if you do reality checks throughout the day, you learn to start doing them in your dreams. And then you'd realize you're dreaming and then be able to control your dreams.
That's crazy.
And apparently it works. So we have to just every
just have
we
to do it
have
every
to
day.
set an alarm on our phone to check our hands.
That's my hand. That's my hand.
What's Jesse
Sorry,
doing?
please continue the interview. Just like, yeah.
Don't worry about me. I'm just trying to control my own dreams.
You like punch someone in the face.
This is what I do on a first date.
Don't worry. Don't call the police.
Start punching people. Be like, this is just my reality check.
But I like those dreams where you wake up and you realize it was all a dream because it feels like a really good plot twist.
Yeah.
And you've just woken up in a film and you've gone, and then it's like, it was all a dream, credit roll. I'm going to go to
And then suddenly credits
work.
roll. Yeah.
All right, we're fired up, so I think it's time to get to another segment.
All right.
I think that people bond over the things that we hate, not what we love.
I think they bond over both, but hate is
Hate is funner.
funner. Yeah.
So do you guys have any rants for me?
I mean, I just gave you 3.
I mean, really, this whole podcast is a rant. But is there anything that's like bugging you right now, that's annoying you, or something
America.
something that generally annoys you? Just the whole country.
In general, yeah,
of
they should not
America?
exist. They're on their last legs. They're fucking. The more I read about the states, oh my god, it's just a giant fucking toddler, man. Okay, someone once described the states as, because it's the United States, right? It's a whole
Chosen
bunch
a
of
very easy target.
I'll think of something more complicated. Yeah, but someone
I
wants
was
to.
thinking like stuff people do at the grocery store.
Yeah, this is really-
No, I'm sure.
Someone once described the states because it's 51 states as like a whole bunch of little countries in a trench coat trying to come across as a big country. And
When people say that about Canada, they say it's 4 oil companies in a trench coat
oh, that's funny.
with healthcare.
Anyway, I'll think of something else. Rhys,
Reese, do you have a rant? Is anything bugging you?
So I've lived in Canada 3.5 years.
Oh, here we
And
go.
people
I'd say that's
constantly
about
talk about how Canada this country's falling apart and blah, 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 and what's going on, and Justin Trudeau's ruining the country, and even if the other person wins, they'll ruin the country too. But actually, like, Canada keeps winning the best place to live. It keeps in all the international rankings. It does it incredibly well, and people who say that have never lived anywhere else.
yeah,
And I would say that what really
Right.
something I get really frustrated about is like people are going, oh yeah, this country used to be amazing. I'm like, no, visit a place that's shit and then
And
come
you'll
back.
appreciate what's here.
Exactly.
Yes.
I just think that people are like, oh, what do you hate? All the wide open space, or the fact you can just pick up sticks.
Free
and move.
healthcare.
You can drive thousands of miles and get a new job in a completely different city, and like I don't know. I just think
Yeah.
I think there are way. I think people really should take stock when they look at the rest of the world, because you go, and I'm not saying Canada's perfect, but certainly.
What's wrong with it?
Exactly.
Now let's get into it. What's wrong with Canada?
It's probably, everyone's got his problems, but it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, it used to be so good here. I'm like, I just arrived. I think it's good. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's just cranky fuckers, man. But you're right; they probably haven't gone anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think as well, like, people are, there's a very small vocal minority. Like, we put out a video recently of Stephen Harper and his cover band.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it was people. Then you had most of the comments were people saying how much they missed him, and how much
On our social media.
Yeah, it was just publicly. It was reels, so it was getting recirculated and everything.
Okay.
And then so everyone was going on about it, and then people were arguing back. But it's really fun. It's funny how people are so. You find that people who do have that opinion are just really loud, and most people quite appreciate stuff here.
Most people are like in the middle.
Yeah, most people just
this
get on with their
isn't
lives.
too bad, but yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad.
It's just so loud.
Yeah.
Loud and uneducated and emotional, and that's the majority.
It's the name of my first album.
I was just gonna say, you just described me.
Loud and educated.
I don't know. My rants are like, I've been on anti-work on Reddit a lot. It's
Ooh.
a fascinating subreddit.
What's anti-work?
It's a subreddit on Reddit, and it's reflecting the current Great Resignation that's happening mainly in North America, which, if you're not familiar with, is people are leaving their jobs by the millions.
I thought you were asking if I was familiar with North America. Is that above South America?
But I'm really quite. And I've been thinking about this a lot. It's nothing I can do about it. It's just the world that I currently live in. But capitalism as its current form, and I need to stress that, in its current form, is destroying fucking everything. I mean everything. It's a good concept in nature. It's a good concept, but the fact that competition kind of spurs growth, and that growth needs to focus on the customer's needs, and so the more competition there is focusing on the customer's needs, then the better theoretically this world can be. That's in theory, but in practice, oh my God, we have fucked this up so hard because as it grew, the customer's needs were not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal was money, which is an addiction like every other fucking addiction. Jeff Bezos, $200 billion. When will that be enough, Jeff?
Yeah.
When have you be like, I've made it finally, I'm happy. It's an addiction. It's literally a fucking addiction.
Okay? It was enough when he got to ride a penis to the moon.
Yes.
He's just like, I'm done now.
I can die happy.
The fact that every corporation, every company out there, almost every, I don't want to speak for mom and pop shops, but the ones that are destroying the planet, it's not about bettering the planet. It's not about bettering people or their lives. It's all about the bottom dollar, 100%. And there's a law in the States. It's law, okay, where if your company is public, okay, which means it has public shares, people can sell and buy it on the stock market. By fucking law, you have to do whatever it is possible to make your shareholders money. Okay, and that means if you found a way to make money by using plastic containers instead of cardboard ones, that'll destroy the fucking environment, and you damn well know it will. But it'll make your shareholders a little bit extra money. You legally have to. You have to do it.
It's wild.
Right? It's wild. It's fucking insane. And there are companies who through competition, they'll try to better the lives of their customers because they want their customers to need them. But over time, they'll find things that just makes them extra money while having the appearance of being there for the customer, because it's never about the customer. It's always about the money, and it's destroying everything. Everything. Absolutely everything is due to capitalism in its current form. We're fucking over the entire planet because of this addiction that
money.
It's insane. Yeah. Money and power. And there's nothing capping. There's a joke going around on Reddit that says that the way capitalism should be is once you reach $999 million of net worth, okay, you're given a plaque that says, congratulations, you won capitalism, and they name a dog park after you. And every single dollar of profit you make after that goes into healthcare and education and food scarcity, and just automatically. If you want to keep making money, if your company wants to keep making money, great, but all of that profit goes to there afterwards, and you get a dog park.
You need to watch a documentary by Adam Curtis, who was a British documentary filmmaker, and it's called Hypernormalization. I was chatting about this week to somebody. So hypernormalization is, in the latter stages of the USSR, everybody knew the newspapers were lying, the TV was lying. They knew that there was no food on the shelves. They knew that the reality in front of them didn't work.
I didn't know anything about this. That's fascinating.
But everyone just carried on because they were in a structure and they didn't know how to operate. Mm. And the documentary talks about that. Is what we live in now. Most people think a lot of stuff is bullshit. Most people don't buy into a lot of the stuff that's going on. Most people are feel like there must be a better way, and that there's a lot of large structural stuff that needs to be fixed. But we just carry on anyway because we're in a state of hypernormalization. It's a good.
That's fascinating.
Google it. Hypernormalization by Adam Curtis.
All right.
He's like one of those people who looks at the world and sees it in a completely different way, almost as if he's in a spaceship looking down on us. It's really cool.
Maybe in the moon.
Maybe it's Adam Curtis.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I was going to say.
What a cool.
I was going to say when you were going, great rant. That's great.
Thank you.
But I got to say, I love Amazon Prime. I buy from there.
I buy from there a lot too.
And I hate it. It makes me feel like a bad person.
No,
but I enjoy the convenience of it.
Other things capitalism gave us, drive-thrus. shoes that light up.
Again, like if you remember what I said, it's not capitalism that's the problem. It's capitalism in its current form.
Oh yeah, it's predatory.
Right? It's in its current form. Capitalism can be reformed, but no one's going to do it because everyone who needs to do it has all the money and power, and they're addicted to it. Right? There's no path to happiness with that. But like, no, you're right. Capitalism has given us all kinds of fascinating and amazing advances in technology that has bettered our health, bettered our longevity, bettered our relationships, bettered our mental health. It's done a lot of great stuff, but it is also destroying us in every way, shape, or form. If you point to literally anything on this planet that is destroying us or having itself destroyed, you can point directly to capitalism.
Minimum wage.
The Amazon rainforest being burned to the ground, the floods, the fucking global warming, you name it. Name anything that's happening and tell me that it's not due to capitalism in the current form.
Rain.
Rain.
Fuck rain.
Just
the hell with rain.
The snow, thunder.
This rain shower is brought to you by Nestle.
Okay,
Anyway.
I'm excited for this next segment because this is my favorite segment of the show.
No, I want to interrupt. I ranted my ass off, and
rant.
Rhys didn't.
Oh, yes, you did. He ranted about.
I had a little rant. He had a
I
minute
had to
rant.
go about Canadians who don't appreciate Canada.
And then I ranted for like 20 fucking minutes.
That's just what you do. I can make my point in a more concise way.
He's just more efficient than you, Jesse.
That's very true.
But okay, so this next one is fascinating to me because I'm all about perception. Like I think it's fascinating your perception of somebody versus what's going on. What's going on inside. So I want to know what's wrong.
Very interesting interview questions, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? What are your issues,
Like, are we supposed to
insecurities,
guess
bad
what the other
habits?
person's-
No, you
You
gotta
got to tell
me.
us something. What's wrong with you?
You gotta
Jess?
tell me
That's
what's
a little
wrong with you.
Where does he
you?
start?
I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to do that.
And it could be like, it could even just be like a bad habit that maybe like your friends tell you that you do a lot that you're working on. Or it can be like an insecurity or a character flaw. Do you have anything? You're in the hot seat.
I'm too handsome. It's just I'm
Oh my
too
gosh.
good looking for this. People can't look at me in the eyes. No, I don't fucking know.
People walk into lampposts because they're just staring at our face.
You gotta have something. You're in your 40s.
Yeah, you're too old. That's a good one.
I mean, like I had a lot of bad habits, and I've been working on them a lot, like a lot, the past, I'm going to say year to year and a half. I'm kind of proud of that. There's a lot of work going on there,
What were they?
The past 5 years kind of sucked a lot, especially the last 3 years. I was just on a lot of, I was self-medicating. I was on St. John's wort for seasonal affective disorder, but I was on way too much of it. Way too much of it.
Wait, you were on St. John's.
Wort, St. John's wort. It's a plant.
What?
You can buy it at the drugstore over the counter.
Interesting.
So like it increases your sensitivity to sunlight, which is really effective for people with seasonal affective disorder.
Shit, okay.
Because it increases your vitamin D absorption in the wintertime.
I had no idea.
But if you take the amount that I was taking, it also has the same effect as a lot of antidepressants, which comes with their own wonderful side effects.
Yes, they do.
And I was drinking a lot of alcohol to kind of counteract those side effects from the St. John's wort, which then gave me a lot of anxiety.
Right. So in trying to fix a problem, you gave yourself a bunch of other problems.
You're driving
I used to
describing
smoke.
a cycle of hell.
A cycle of hell.
Jesse's got a
Yeah.
great smoking story. He took up smoking to prove he could give up smoking. And
What?
And then just to make sure that it was a fair experiment, he remained smoking for 10 years.
15, thank you.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You started smoking
To see if I could
to
quit.
prove a
Do
point?
heroin next.
Oh my god! And you smoked for 10 years?
Oh, longer than that. Probably about
How did you
20.
quit? How did you quit smoking?
It was about 5 years ago now. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was vaping for a long time. They say the average smoker tries to quit about 10 times. And I tried to quit about 7 before I quit. And I vaped for a good 3 to 4 years, and you can control the amount of nicotine in your vape juice. So I was at one point like at 32 grams of nicotine in my juice, which is an insanely high amount. And then over the course of like a year and a half or 2 years, I brought it down to like 1 milligram. And then I don't know. I didn't want to be addicted to anything anymore. And like, so I just quit. And something really fascinating about the last time that I quit, I just kind of went cold turkey. Like I brought it down to as low as I could go with nicotine. And then I just went cold turkey on that. And it was still hard, but not as hard as it was previously. And something really fascinating. It wasn't a decision. It was a realization that I had, which is like, oh, I'm done. Like,
yeah, I hear this from a lot of,
yeah, like it wasn't like, that's it. I'm making the decision. It wasn't a decision. It was a realization like, I don't need it anymore. This is not going to be part of my life anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just done.
Yeah.
Right? And not a decision, realization. It was really quite neat. Yeah. And it's stuck. It's like 5 years later. I'm like,
oh, dang.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's wicked.
Thank you. And like it's been.
And you're off the St. John's wort?
Off the St. John's wort for about almost a year now. And
worst name ever, I gotta say.
It is, yeah.
St. John's
wort. I'm taking a break from alcohol.
I need to rebrand it.
It's been 6 months.
Good.
Without any of that stuff. And like, again, it wasn't like none of this stuff was problematic. It was just causing other parts of my, what I mean? Like it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like when people take a break from alcohol, oftentimes you'll get them to like, oh, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Because drinking is so fucking common.
Well,
right?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you that you're not drinking? You must be a rabid alcoholic.
Such a part of Halifax culture specifically
crazy.
because everything is followed with, we could get a drink and do this.
Right.
Want to get a drink? Let's go down. You know what I mean? Like every plan involves getting a drink. It's never
celebration.
Like, come over for a hot cocoa.
Right. But also, if people are out drinking, what do you do while you're there? You're not going to just...
Yeah.
Because you don't drink that much liquid unless you're trying to get drunk.
Exactly.
Or,
Right.
I'm just going
And that was kind of always my take on it. Like I was like, I just see dollar signs when I'm drinking because I go, if I'm drinking, it better be because I want to get drunk.
Right. Yeah.
Not just
It's funny. I was at a party recently. As a bartender, I want to learn how to make cocktails because I think it's fun, but I wasn't drinking.
Right.
So I asked them like, hey, is it weird if I like make cocktails for your guys' party, but like don't drink? They're like, that's not weird. Come on over. So it was actually really fun.
It makes it seem like you're poisoning everyone.
Yeah.
really though.
So I had no idea if it tasted any good. I was relying on these people. And by the end of the night, everything I was making was delicious, of course, because they're drunk out of their fucking minds. Right. But like, it was really fun making these cocktails while sober. And like throughout the night, I was constantly asked, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking?
Yeah.
And I
which is really a personal question.
Well, I looked at one of them like, did you know that alcohol is the only drug where people ask you why you're not doing it?
Yeah, truly.
And that stunned her. She's like,
Truly.
She just kind of sat back. She's like, oh my God. She's like, yeah, if people were passing around a joint, you're like, no thanks. No one would be like, why not? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Or like any drug.
Because it's just
Why won't you do this crystal meth?
Right.
It's right in front of you. Why not?
Right.
You're the only friend I know who doesn't have a crack pipe.
It's so true though. Did you get tempted to drink when you were making the drinks?
Not at all. Which I
good for
actually
you.
looked back on. I was like, oh, wow, that's neat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not even the tiniest bit.
So
No, it's been fun. And so it's been, I look at this as like the year of like, of
Rebirth.
Yeah. Like I've stopped drinking. I'm off of all the, the St. John's wort, and I'm like getting up in the mornings. I'm
More
not an idle
productive.
anymore. Say what?
You're more productive.
I'm more productive. I am more productive. I'm much more creative.
Hell
And
yeah.
I've got a lot more energy. I'm working out more. I'm learning piano again. I've been saying for years that I'm like, I want to learn piano again. And I just haven't done it. It's just one of those things I'm going to do one day. And I was like, no, I wake up every single morning and I practice piano every single morning.
I didn't bring my bell. I usually have a bell that I ding when
Okay.
I like approve of something.
Oh, sweet.
So I'll
Ding.
put in the sound effect here. Ding.
So it's my year of
love
self-improvement. I know
that.
like this is the complete opposite of what you wanted me to
No.
say.
But you started with what was wrong, which was you were
Right.
doing. Yeah.
So,
Rhys.
what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you, Rhys? We both turned at the same time. What is wrong with you?
I was thinking about this.
We have similar problems, you and I.
Yeah. We both have dyslexia.
I didn't know you had dyslexia as well.
I'm not dyslexic, but I do have ADHD.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
Both
Sorry.
of you have ADHD.
But
We're both neurodiverse.
we both.
There's no
we both are
fucking way
not-
this man does not have ADD. There's no way.
I think I'm not diagnosed, but
You
there's
100%
stuff
have
I
ADD.
read and I go, I do that.
I have ADD since from a young age because I was born with Tourette syndrome and ADD. That's something you probably didn't know.
No.
You were born with Tourette's?
Yeah. Yeah, it was super fun. When you're I won't get into that, but like,
shit.
that's, I mean, I can, but like I just didn't want to interrupt Rhys. Tourette's is
No, I
fucking
need to talk about
insane.
what's wrong with me.
It's my time to shine.
It's my time to
It's your time to not shine.
So just a real quick aside, when you have Tourette's, 80% of people with Tourette's also have it coupled with ADD, okay? And when you hit puberty, it either gets worse or it goes away. And I'm so thankful that it went away from me. But the ADD stuck around, and I couldn't take medication for ADD because there was a chance it could bring my Tourette's back. And so I've just been living with adult ADD my whole life unmedicated. Well, I'm medicated myself, as I talked about previously.
Okay.
So I can fucking recognize ADD. Let me tell you.
That might tie into the thing I was going to talk about.
Yes.
So I do have this thing where if I don't feel like I'm constantly achieving new things and getting wins, whether that's like a nice email from a listener on our podcast or business going well and us getting a new client or whatever it might be. If I don't, then within like a matter of a day, I'll go, say we have a really good day and a load of good stuff happens. I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up the next morning and I would have forgotten about it all. All the good feeling would have gone away. And I'll be like, what do I need to? I need to achieve something today. My life is falling apart. I need one. And then if I go,
that's kind of like you're a workaholic who's a perfectionist.
I can switch on from work. And I think it's because, I think it ties back to the dyslexia. I think it's because I kind of left traditional academic stuff when I was 16. Like I left school and then I just did art full time. And I think I always felt like I needed to work that extra hard to build a career because especially where I was living, art wasn't there was no clear career path. If you were going to do art full time, chances are you're going to do art full time. You could then go and work in a call center or be an art teacher or something. And I didn't want either of those things. So I think I've always felt like I've had to put the pressure on myself. But then also, I got 3 kids and, we got a mortgage and all these things. So I think there's part of me that always feels like even if I've had a really good 4 days that week, then I'll have the weekend and I'll forget about all the good feelings.
It's like a clean slate.
And then Monday I'll go, fuck, what am I going to do this week?
But do you ever
That's amazing.
Do you ever remind
not.
yourself of the previous wins? Like
I have to have, sometimes other people have to, or
maybe you should like write them down.
Yeah.
And like put them on Post-it notes all around.
But that's the
your
other thing.
apartment.
And I think this is ADD. Because I always say I get to a point where I'm like, I'm so disorganized, right? I'm going to clear my desk. I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to start writing things down and do this. And then within a day, I don't do it. And then I hate myself. So I'm like, why can't I be more organized? Which I think is a hallmark of an ADD. Exactly. So every time somebody says, you should do this new behavior, I'm like, I fucking tried every behavior.
That's like
You're just going to make me hate myself more. So stop suggesting new behaviors I can't adopt.
like ADD people they'll read like the first chapter of every book but never finish a book.
I'm currently reading 25 books.
Jesus. Oh, I see. Okay,
Well,
You're like
failing to read 25 books.
picking through them all.
I couldn't read for the longest time. Like I could read the words, but ADD would not let me. The same thing. Like I couldn't get through
Same.
my whole adult life. Like I only really started learning how to sit down and try to concentrate and finish a book. I'm going to say like 2012. And then like I barely got through a few books. Like I'm not a reader.
Me neither.
I wish I was. I try.
See,
We try our best.
I'm kind of weird because
kind of weird, Rhys.
We're going to clip that out of context.
no, the dyslexia I've got, or the way the dyslexia affects me is that I can speed read. I can read like 4 words at once and just skim straight through. I've got quite a visual memory, so I can, every place I've ever been, I kind of draw a pretty accurate map.
Wow.
So even like Halifax, I've only lived here 3 years, but I know most of the routes and the roads, which I'm making myself sound really weird. But
just Rhys knows where we live.
Exactly. I know. But then the stupid thing is though that I feel like I can take a lot of information in, and then I'm in the bottom like 15% for writing. My writing skills are
I was
classed
just
as
say you and I
technically
suck
remedial.
at writing.
Oh wow.
So my thing is I absorb all this stuff, and then I've got no way of then so which is why. Audio,
You've got all these other creative
video,
outlets.
all those. I need
Audio,
those outlets
video.
because
Yeah.
I can't. The written word terrifies me.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And I just get frustrated because I'm like, why am I so slow?
No.
And I hate myself for being. I'm like,
No.
I thought I was smart, and I just can't write. so
we are the same. We both are frequent typo people. Like
yeah.
And
Rhys, whenever Rhys
It's
gives
so
me a note,
frustrating.
it's all in hieroglyphics. I don't understand.
But
what is mule star cake? What is this?
my good friend and British comedian Rod Gilbert once described my emails as strong passwords.
that's hilarious. It's so frustrating because, like, with typos and shit, like, I try sometimes. I will look things over. Like, I make a lot of comedy posters, and, like, I really will look at everyone's name and go, everyone's spelled right. And then I post it, and I get a message. And I just go, God damn it. I can't get it. Like, I'm going to die, and it'll be... She can never spell.
But
you know what I mean? Like,
you reread it,
Yeah.
and you don't see it, and then you see it a
don't
week
see it.
later or somebody. And that's the thing that drives me crazy is like for business, I use the world's most boring social media platform, LinkedIn, and there's so many people on there going, grammar is important, spelling's important. And I'm like,
And you're like, "Fuck you!"
and I just get really angry at them. I'm like, you don't realize that some people just can't do that well, and that's not a reflection of them and their professional ability to do what they do. It's just don't hire them to write stuff.
exactly.
That's fine.
We're not going to be authors.
Exactly.
You know, we're not going to be journalists.
Unless I can pay someone to sit there and write down things that I'm
ghostwriter?
saying.
Yeah.
I could just talk.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You can
Then,
just-
That would be cool to do.
but I'm got any money to do
I just
it.
picture you like on a couch just talking
Yeah.
and like Jesse's beside you
cool.
on an old-fashioned
Exactly.
typewriter.
Just get someone from Fiverr.
Or,
Just have a
Chapter
little
one.
microphone, like just recording everything you say
Do you know
all
what?
day.
That would be so funny.
Automatically uploads an audio cue to the cloud where he's just typing away the whole fucking day, a transcript of everything Rhys says.
An improvised
That'd be
novel.
wild.
Just
And improvise a novel?
just improvise an entire novel. Just go blah, 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 blah. It's like 7 hours.
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
It's a whole new genre.
Improvised novels.
Yeah.
We should do it.
writing is the absolute worst. I hate it. I truly hate
writing.
it. Are you a frequent typo person? Do you typo a lot?
No.
No?
I mean, well, yes. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't really notice it so much because of autocorrect.
Autocorrects can ruin your life, though.
Well,
If you type, I'm a fast typer, so I type. I think my thing is that I'm so anxious to get things out there that I'm fast to type
Yeah.
and then press publish. And it's like, no, you gotta.
no, I'm a big grammar Nazi. I grew up
rein
that
it in.
way. I grew up in a family of writers.
Edit out where he said grammar.
Shit.
No, I am. Like, I grew up with writers in the family, and I grew up as like I was always a really good writer as a kid, which is amazing because I never read anything, but I would, writing like punctuation and proper grammar and like how the paragraph is formed and all the sentences around it it's very important to me. Like, I'll proofread emails and texts before I send them. And
good for
stuff like
you.
that. Yeah, just not for spelling.
Stop
I'm
bragging.
a horrible fucking speller, but like everything else.
Rhys and I are over here.
Well, I
like,
didn't want to say that. I didn't want to bring it up because
What
it's
a
like,
So, and I think the my thing of like feeling like I need to prove myself all the time, not even to other people, just to myself, is that the whole of school was you're slow or you're kind of sloppy, you're lazy.
Yeah.
Like, why haven't you written this thing out?
that's ADD,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, you have
That's-
it. So when I had my assessment for ADHD, one of the big tip-offs that I said to her, where she was just like, she kind of visibly like was like, oh yeah, okay, was
We
like,
got one.
was me going, I feel like I'm never enough. Like in anything I do, I feel like I could be doing so much. I feel like my potential is way bigger than what I'm doing. And
There's a book for ADD called
scattered.
I mean, there might
We
be
just
one.
talked about how we can't read books, Jess.
Well, it's for ADD. It's for people with ADD. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I might be misquoting it, but it's called "You're Not Lazy, Crazy, or Stupid."
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
Or it's "You Mean I'm Not Lazy,
Yes.
Crazy, or Stupid."
Yeah.
So like I couldn't get through it.
It's
'cause I had
truly
too much ADD.
such a thing because I have a thing where I have sometimes people talk to me and I just don't take the information
Yeah.
in for whatever reason it's just coming out like the Charlie Brown teacher like "Meh, meh, 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 meh." And my friends would get mad at me because I would forget
Yeah.
like details of like what they told me and like you're like what, how do you not remember, like, and they would get mad and I would just be like, I didn't take it in, you know, like
Well, that's
it's
the-
a frustrating thing.
For me, I'm like anything that I find interesting, I remember.
Yes.
If I don't find it interesting, I forget, which makes it really transparent for people.
You
to
have
go,
AD
If you either one of there's a superpower for ADD people. And this is like one of the telling things to know whether or not you actually do have ADD or not. It's like you have the whole telltale thing of I have a difficult time concentrating on things, but if you're working on something you find fascinating, you will go for hours without a break. Hyperfocus. Yeah.
But that's
and
the thing,
you
though.
do that when you're in your editing world. When Rhys is in editing world, there's no your tunnel vision. But like getting shit done. But that's hyper focus.
I'm either scattered or insanely focused.
Yes.
But also the ability to only remember things you're interested in makes you incredibly transparent for when you're not interested in. And people
Does it ever?
Yeah.
That's
read you like a book.
In the
You didn't remember the
ADHD
stuff.
world, that's called chasing serotonin. So you chase the things that give you the feel-good feelings. And then, like, you could edit a video for hours but never take out the trash. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got ADHD.
I would sit there editing videos and audio and slowly grow a giant beard. It wasn't for the fact that I had responsibility to keep me going.
So I mean, we're all adults. We seem like we all have ADD. It seems like we're all unmedicated for this ADD.
Not me. Freshly medicated.
Freshly medicated?
A couple weeks in.
Do you mind me asking?
Wellbutrin.
Wellbutrin.
Which is actually an antidepressant.
It is, yes.
But it's, so the reason she put me on that is because I also got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder.
Isn't that fun?
At the same time that I got diagnosed for ADD. She said she could sense it through the Zoom call.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, all right. So it's been interesting.
Okay. How has it been? I've
it's
never heard of
hard for
Wellbutrin
me
being
to-
used as an ADD medication before,
It's
ever.
supposed to help with focus and like your energy. And I have found that I'm less tired all the
That's
time lately. And I have found that like it's helped with my mood,
Right.
but not so much with, I'm not noticing any drastic changes in focus
Right.
and concentration, but it takes some time. Like she said to give it a good month.
Okay.
So I have a call with her next week to like check in.
Every time I hear someone say that they're on anti-anxiety / antidepressants, I feel the need to warn them. I was on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication for 8 years because no doctor bothered to tell me that I need to come off of it now. And they just kept giving it to me. And by the way, 8 years is
That's a long time.
Way too fucking long.
Yeah.
It's, if you're on ADD medication like fucking Ritalin or what are the other ones called? Anyway, that's one thing. I actually don't know a lot of it, but like antidepressants / anti-anxiety medication are never meant to be
Long term. Right.
Unless it's like, so okay, for one, I don't want to get into this giant rant, but like generalized anxiety disorder is bullshit. Okay.
It kind of feels like it is.
It is.
It's like, is this just being human?
Are you worried
Yes.
about the sun exploding?
It's over. It's
A piano's gonna fall on me as I'm walking. But literally, when
Just
she said
generally
it, I was-
anxious.
Well, I told her because I was like, my anxiety. I don't have social anxiety or anything, but I do catastrophize. In other words, like,
of course.
I'm really scared of cars. I'm convinced that a car is going to hit me every time I go outside.
So, I mean, I've lived with anxiety my entire life. It's a constant battle that I've learned how to stay on top of it. Anxiety is very real, but generalized anxiety disorder, which is their way of saying there is something wrong with your brain that makes you feel anxiety for no fucking reason whatsoever. Here's pills to take for the rest of your life.
Right.
My personal thought on that, especially from someone who's been suffering from, battling, and medicated for anxiety pretty much since 20 years old, is that's bullshit.
Right.
Okay. Does anxiety exist? Yes. Can you be more sensitive to things that can cause anxiety? Yes. Do you need to be medicated for the rest of your life because of it? No. So if you're prescribed anti-anxiety medication and antidepressant medication, they're general practitioners should not be the ones diagnosing you with this. Like, it should be a psychiatrist.
That was me. So I had a psychiatrist.
You had a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
diagnose, and then she gave the doctor this big long report.
That's wonderful to hear because it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
But what they often don't fucking tell you, because doctors get commission,
Right.
okay, is that it's supposed to be a Band-Aid. Okay, let's make you feel better. Okay,
In the short term.
In the short term, so that you can, with a fresh brain that is not hurting, figure out what is causing the anxiety, what is causing the depression, and then work on that for a good half a year to a year while on the Wellbutrin, while on whatever, right? Fix that, and then come off of the Wellbutrin, right? Is what they're supposed to say and supposed to help you figure out during that year. But they don't. They're like, take this next.
My experience has been pretty good. It's going to be regular check-ins to figure out what will work for me. So
but again, if it's medication for the rest of your life, to figure out what medication works for you for the rest of your life, I would highly recommend against that train of thought.
And I definitely don't want to be on anything for the rest of my life. I have commitment issues. So
okay, well, just your doctor will never tell you to come off of it.
Yeah.
You have to be the one.
Do Canadian doctors get commission?
Oh yes.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, as far as I know,
Mine
I could be wrong, but
honestly, really cheap. We don't have I don't have benefits, but
no, it's cheap. Yeah, it's compared to the States,
it's
pretty cheap. Yeah, it's pretty cheap, right?
For a month or whatever.
The side effects aren't worth it. There's short-term side effects. There's long-term side effects. There's side effects that in small, rare percentages that even if you come off of it, it will permanently affect your brain. Years later.
Oh joy!
Well done, Jess.
Very rare, very very rare. Just saying.
Sarah was feeling really good about this until you came on the podcast.
No, it's all good. No, I think it's important to be very critical of stuff like this.
We have normalized, I won't go on this rant for too much longer, but we have normalized, we definitely have as a society, especially North American society, normalized things that are toxic to our bodies and our minds, okay, that have horrible consequences and side effects to us. And we have our doctors making a profit by telling us there's something uniquely wrong with you.
Right.
You need to take this medication so you don't feel that weird shit happening anymore. And the shit that we've normalized is we drink way too much caffeine. Okay, we have way too much stimulants. Okay, whether it be in Red Bulls or nicotine as a stimulant,
gives you wings and weakens the heart.
Okay, we eat a shit ton of sugar.
Yeah,
just a shit ton of sugar.
Oh no, we treat our bodies like trash.
Absolute trash, and our minds.
In the UK, the only people I know who are on antidepressants or anti-anxiety drugs were people who had crippling depression or real serious anxiety.
Oh yeah, give people the help that they need if they're in pain.
But
right?
my point is that was the UK. Whereas here, so I moved here, I know a lot of people. A lot of people go to therapy, which I think is a good thing.
That's fantastic.
But also, way more people are also taking some form of medication for their mind or for mental health, which I don't know whether that I can't work out in my head whether it's just that they give them away too easy or whether it's just they're doing a better job of applying them to the people who need them.
100% the first one, in my opinion. I was medicated for most of my, if not all of my 20s, and it just pretty much destroyed my
I'd be interested in seeing your studies.
Did you go through a psych assessment?
No.
Okay, so that's the thing.
I had an anxiety
attack. That kind of makes me feel slightly better about because I had a grueling 2-hour call with a psychiatrist.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean,
so it was pretty in depth and holy shit. She asked a lot of questions.
But I'm kind of what I've been going through is, and it's been difficult this whole year of bettering myself for myself.
It's tough.
Right? It's very tough. Eating better, stopping drinking, stopping getting rid of toxic stuff out of that I've been doing for years, and then trying to increase the positive things that I've wanted to do for a long time is very difficult. But if you're having difficulties in your life, I think it's really, really worth looking at the shit we're doing to ourselves first.
Yeah.
If you have a really difficult time sleeping at night, or if you're having any kind of problem, okay, your first thought should not be, I am unique and there is something wrong with my brain's wiring and I need medication to fix that wiring. That should not be our go-to thought, but that's how society is telling us so that we feel special. I mean, there's so many people out there who wear a mental disorder like a badge of fucking honor.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's so if you're, as an example, if you're having trouble sleeping, it's not because you have some kind of fucking weird, unique sleep problem in your brain and you're different from your peers. No. Have you tried turning off screen? All the shit that we never have heard. Well, we just kind of dismiss. Oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Small behaviors to make your life better, behavioral lifestyle things.
Do you think
exercise,
that maybe eating an hour before bed, watching TV right up before bed, drinking caffeine, smoking, all this stuff.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling. Exactly.
I love a doom scroll.
Doom scrolling in bed.
That's me.
But we just kind of be we wash it aside yeah, sure, that makes sense, whatever. But we don't actually think that this shit has a significant fucking impact on our lives when it does.
There's rehabs for phone addiction now.
That's hilarious.
But that's the world we're living in.
Oh my God! So that's my small rant.
No,
to
I
you.
love it. No, it's
Jesse,
it's
that's your
interesting.
rant number 4 now.
That's rant number. We should do a rant count in the episode.
Yeah.
Last segment, and then I have one final question before we wrap.
I would just end this by saying, please put a reminder for 1 year today into your phone, asking yourself, do I still need to be on Wellbutrin?
Oh, I love that, Sarah. Hey, future Sarah, 1 year from now.
You're not going to be listening to this when you're
Your phone's
Put it
not.
on your phone.
I just had the moment of where's my phone. You're gonna forget, but put a reminder in your phone for a year from now, and I hope you're doing well, girl. Okay, unpopular opinion.
Don't hate me for this, but it's time for an unpopular opinion.
So, a lot of people think the rant and the unpopular opinion are too similar. In my mind, unpopular opinion is like, what would you say at a party that would make everyone at the table go, oh, like turn on you?
I wouldn't.
So something that you
I
think,
like parties.
something that you think the majority of people would disagree with you on.
I have to think about that.
I got mine, but I think that it's a growing amount of people who probably would agree with this.
Ooh, okay.
But I think unless you're really paying attention to his life and who he is, that Elon Musk is not a savior and role model.
No, that's fair.
A lot, like you said, he's like Tony Stark, and I think that's.
Honestly,
I don't think he is.
I don't know enough about him,
It-
so I would
the
openly
more,
listen
the more
to
I've the more
talk
I've learned
that.
about him, like he comes from a very wealthy South African family. His dad owned like a ruby mine or something.
Oh, shit.
And he grew up with like servants and all this kind of thing during
wow.
apartheid. And I think him and his brother came to New York with like pockets full of rubies and were trying to sell them in jewelry stores in New York. And like, so he this whole kind of, so he comes from a very wealthy family. And then also there's, I've heard that he doesn't have a great relationship. He's got a lot of kids and he doesn't have a great relationship with most of them.
Yeah, well, his most recent baby mama was Grimes. And
Who
they
was
named,
literally young enough to be his daughter.
what did they name the kid? Like a series of,
Yeah.
like a strong password.
Yeah. One of my
I think they named
emails.
the kid
They
a
based it off
strong
my
password.
email.
It was some weird name, yeah.
And even things like he was very irresponsible during COVID with his factory staff.
Really?
Yeah, he
I didn't know
cracks. He's very anti-union and worker rights.
No.
There's a bunch of stuff that he does.
Wow.
That makes me.
Wow.
I'd say if you're going to base him on Tony Stark, base him on Tony Stark before he had the epiphany to become Iron Man. Base him on the shitty
That
Tony
version.
Stark.
Just the rich guy.
The pre-Iron Man Tony Stark.
Someone needs to drag Elon Musk into the desert.
He's the
Yeah, someone needs to
player.
blow up some metal into his heart.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah. So that's and he's got incredible branding. A lot of people are like, Elon will save us. We can build a new planet on Mars and we will survive.
Right.
Yeah.
People treat him like a prophet, like
Yeah, exactly.
like they look up to him too much.
But
I like that.
he's Jesse. You have plenty to say. for
Reese, the Elon hater. Hashtag.
I didn't know that about him.
If you're still here after all this time, hashtag Reese,
And now-
the Elon hater.
Now on the Intoxicated store, you can buy "Fuck Elon" t-shirts.
Yeah, there we go. With just your face.
It's just me going.
Not what I'm saying.
Middle fingers, Reese. Middle fingers. Come on, yeah.
Well, this doesn't mean anything in Canada.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's just.
It means
it's a
fuck
backwards
off
piece.
in the UK.
Here it means 2 Timbits, please.
They only come in 10s, 20s, or 50s.
Jesse, do you have an unpopular opinion or one that you can think of?
Yeah. I
Uh-oh.
don't want to say it.
Oh, no.
No, it's not. It's nothing salacious. It's nothing. It's
Jesse just says, COVID's not real.
Well, he did say he was,
No,
he
it's
was,
just
he did say he was a
depressing.
huge Nazi.
Ooh.
just. It's just.
No, let's hear
it's
it.
just. No, it's just depressing.
This is the right show for it. Say it.
I think the majority
Uh-oh.
of people are in a loop in their lives, and they spend, and I'm not outside of this loop, I'm just maybe more aware of it. They spend their days, their waking days, doing routines, and these include things that they ingest into their bodies, doing routines to
mean food?
distract themselves from the fact that they feel purposeless, and that their lives are boring and kind of sad.
What you're talking about? Booze and weed and
Everything. I'm talking about going to a job. Everything.
Yeah.
Like so much of
I've
the
read
things-
Eat, Pray, Love 5 times.
Right, yes. Like I think the majority of people spend the majority of their days distracting themselves from the mundaneness of their lives, including video games, movies, televisions, parties, smoking up, drinking, dating, you name it. You fucking name it. It's a huge chunk of it is to distract themselves from how boring and useless their lives really are.
Ding, ding, ding. I think that's true. I don't disagree with you.
What else are they supposed to be doing?
Good question.
What you're saying is people aren't fulfilling them. People aren't being fulfilled, and like they're not pursuing their fulfillment as a human.
I'm not saying what they should do. I'm just pointing out what they're doing.
Right.
But like some people would argue they're doing that to relax.
They would argue that, wouldn't they?
But maybe that's true. I play video games. Yes, I know.
I do a lot of this stuff too.
No,
do.
but that's what I mean. It doesn't. Not everyone.
I'm not outside of this.
Not everyone's life. Not everyone is the main character in a movie about their lives, where at the end they achieve this amazing goal they didn't believe they could. Some people just want to get on with their lives.
Some people are just
work and
really
live and
simple
chill.
in what they want.
Yeah.
And I think other people have. I'm a Capricorn midheaven, so I'm a born leader. Astrology is one of those things I distract myself with.
This is one of these opinions that I have that I enjoy being having someone like tell me I'm wrong with, because I don't like believing it.
I just think that some people are happy with less.
I like that. I do like that.
So I have a lot of like ambitions. Like I have a lot of ideas in my head of things I want to do. None of those I would say involve like buying a house, getting married, having kids. Like they're all like, I don't want to have a boring life. But I know a lot of people who have like a really standard, simple life. They go to work, they come home, and they're very, very happy with it. And I just think,
I mean,
it depends
I've
on
known
what-
people
it
like that
depends
too,
on
and I'm
what-
wondering
what
if they're actually
fulfills you.
happy or if they appear happy.
because career stuff won't fulfill everyone.
No, it won't.
So
Also, don't forget, we live, like, you go back to the 50s. People didn't care what your dream was. People would go, hey, I've got a good job. I can pay the bills.
exactly.
I've got food.
Simpler
This is
times.
cool. No, there's no more war. It was very much like, whereas now people are like, why am I here? What am I going to do in my life? You go back not that far. Most people, that was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Come on, we need to dig this coal up or chop this tree down so that we can eat. I think that we now live
Survival.
we kind of indoctrinated like to be very individual in how we see the world, whereas people would think about things as a collective or as a community or as a town or as a household in a very different way in terms of how they saw the world. I think we're just in a luxurious position to go to believe that we are the main character in a film about our lives.
And it's also, do you work to live or live to work?
Me?
Yeah.
Neither. I don't like work.
You're like, I don't like working or living. But it's that kind of idea, right? Like,
I see what
like
you're
some
saying.
people, like if you think of someone who you might think would be in like a, Nikki Glaser calls them a soul-sucking desk job, like, a call center or like a corporate, like a really corporate boring job. But they just get through the day so that they can like go home and be with their family and have quality time.
I think I'm upset with the concept of zombies. Like if someone
that's not cool.
chose that life, if they were fully aware,
Yeah.
like I want a simple life, say they chose,
And they're happy.
and they're happy with their choices, with that simple life, fucking A.
Yeah.
Fucking A,
Yep.
right? But if they're just doing what they're kind of told to do and they don't really know and they're not happy with everything and they kind of know in the back of their mind they're not happy with everything, but they just keep doing what they're told to do, that bothers me.
That does bother me too.
You know?
I don't like
Yeah.
people who complain and don't do anything to change their situation. I'll use the example of like females with toxic men and repeating behavior with guys that are bad for them. Again, a distraction from a deeper issue.
But even like MLMs, they like prey on people who are like, I need my own business. I need to get out of this job. And then they do these like pyramid
Frag.
schemes and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I think there's a whole industry. There's a whole industry based off that feeling that people are like,
You could be an entrepreneur.
yeah.
Join them.
You just need to order our kit.
I've joined them.
You've joined an MLM? What were you selling?
Multiple MLMs.
Jesse is our local Avon rep.
Yeah.
So in my 20s, I joined about 3, maybe 4 different MLMs throughout the course of my 20s. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
No, I've learned a lot about them. The last one I think was ACN. And so here's the thing with MLMs. Originally they were pyramid schemes. And then the government was like, you can't do that. Pyramid schemes are illegal. And they came back to them and like, what is illegal about our pyramid scheme? And the government was like, okay, fine. This, and this. You can't do this. That's a pyramid scheme. And they're like, okay, great. And they reformed the pyramid scheme around those things so that it wasn't illegal. And it's a multi-level, that's your multi-level marketing thing. Now, here's the crazy fucking thing about MLMs. They work. Not the way they teach you, right? Everyone's not going to get rich. It is a race to the bottom, let me tell you, right? So, like, it depends on how close you are to the top of that fucking pyramid. There are people out there who can make money. It is true.
You just have to start an MLM.
You have to start an MLM. And not only that, but like it depends on how the structure. You can be like, if the product is selling well, right? It does depend on the product, right? If the product is selling well and they continue to sell more and more and more of that product to an even wider audience, that means there is room to come in. Okay? Now, here's what they don't fucking tell you. Okay, this is at the cost of your fucking soul.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was the last time I did an MLM, and I was never successful, by the way, in any of this shit. Okay, I saw the potential, and I joined in. And I was young, and I was in my 20s, and I was stupid, and I didn't know what I was doing. But the last time I went to an MLM conference was in Calgary, and I met a guy who was one of the top tier multi-fucking millionaires. Okay, in this MLM. Multi-millionaire. And I went up and I shook his hand and he shook my hand. And there was no way to describe it. And I wasn't looking for it. You have to see it. I was like, oh, like completely lifeless eyes.
Dead. Yeah.
Dead inside.
Like Tom Cruise.
That's kind of like sales.
Because you're constantly selling, constantly. You sell your family, you sell your friends, you sell cashiers at the supermarket, you sell strangers, you sell
the
everyone.
person you bullied in high school.
Everyone.
Hey, I know you bullied me between the ages of 13 and 16.
But please
buy
this
these
makeup.
stick-on nails.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's just like, you can be successful. There are people out there who do it, but like it's at what cost? And I'm like, and once I saw him, I'm like, oh, I'm out.
Well, you
I'm
see
done.
it in like, I would say like people who work in call centers and try to work their way up to manage a call center. They start as the drone,
right?
The person who's like judged for their stats.
Yeah.
And then they get up to that power level where they're the ones judging other people now.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird power, like
it's not
power
that weird. It's been around forever. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's
I
slave
manage
owners and
over
slaves.
200
Pretty
people.
much.
We abolished slavery, and we found different forms of being able to have slaves again.
Yeah.
And it's supervisors and managers and CEOs and et cetera,
So
et cetera.
true.
It's very true. Yeah. Like there are
slavery was pretty bad.
Yes.
If you look at like
it was
the people,
way worse.
Yeah.
people who died on ships,
Yeah.
so they were packed on top of each
That's
other.
Who's
true.
the slave in this dynamic?
I wouldn't go working in a call center and compare it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. That is. Thank you, Rhys, for bringing that up. That
At
is
least call
very
centers.
true.
Hey, at least
Very,
call
very
centers
true.
have ping pong tables in the kitchen, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Free bubbly.
okay, I have a final question before we close.
All right.
This is actually going to come out on like the second last day of December.
All right.
Do you guys believe in and have any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually.
Any goals? Or do you believe in them?
Yeah.
I believe that they exist and that people do them. Unlike Bigfoot.
They do exist.
But they do exist. But I'm of the mindset that I've never come up with a good one. I always come up with it too late. It's like 2 p.m. on January the 1st. And people are like, I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, the fuck, I forgot again. What am I
There's no deadline for New Year's resolutions.
You start writing
it's like
shit down.
I've got
It's not like you have to do it by midnight or it won't come true.
I've got like 10 hours. I've got 10 hours to come up for a good resolution, and then I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to eat less cheese.
I say go simple with resolutions. Like these big resolutions,
Yeah.
I think are silly.
But then I think like, and then I instantly forget,
Yeah.
And then I remember the one from the last show I was going to do, and then I hate myself more. And then now I've got to the point, 37 years later, I'm now like, fuck resolutions. I could come up with a resolution on April the 16th if I want. I'm not gonna.
Your new year can start whenever you want.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
It doesn't have to start on December 31st, tomorrow, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let this calendar decide when I decide to make a change in my life.
Yes. Screw calendars. Communism.
I think communists did believe in calendars. They're thinking of money.
I'm just in capitalism. Shit. Fuck.
I want to live in a society that doesn't believe in time.
That's very funny.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Jeff?
Kind of. Coincidentally, I found it too hard to do keto during the holiday season because there's just too much fucking temptation everywhere I look.
Yes.
And I kind of want to do keto for a year. I want to try it. I don't know if I'll succeed.
A whole year? You're going to be a miserable... Get ready, Rhys. You're going to be miserable.
You're gonna look like
People on keto...
I've done keto a bunch.
You can just see them and they seem so tired.
You're going to look like a prisoner of
They're
war.
doing it wrong.
Probably.
I've been studying keto for over a year now, and there are right ways of doing it, and there are wrong ways of doing it. And there are ways of doing it that'll make you exhausted, for sure, if you're not getting enough sodium, if you're not getting enough potassium and magnesium.
Right.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
It does work. People do lose a lot of weight from it.
It's not just about the weight.
It's about the feeling.
Not about the feeling. No, it's very specifically about insulin resistance, but that's a different topic altogether.
Yes.
Like
it's another podcast.
Well, just to sum up, basically, it's 20 years of eating carbs the way that we've been taught is okay in a North American diet, which is not at all, by the way, has repercussions. And that repercussion is your body starts producing insulin way too fucking much of it and is resistant to it, much the same as taking a drug for 20 years and you need to smoke or take way, way more of that drug to have the same effect you did 20 years ago. Same thing. This reverses it if you do it long enough. So I want to try keto. And coincidentally, I'm just going like, maybe I'll try it in the new year.
Finance, health, just not politics. That's what Jesse said.
Wow.
I told you, man. When you started the fucking podcast 2 years ago. I hate this shit. I don't want to.
Jesse, do you want to be my co-host now?
Sure.
Oh my gosh, guys, this was such a wild ride. Thank you guys for doing this. This was a lot of
Thank you
fun.
for having us.
Please tell everyone where they can find you, follow you.
If you want to find us, we're on a cute little podcast called Canadian.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. It's called Canadian Politics is Boring. And you can find us pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. And if you don't know where to find a podcast, that's weird because you're listening to this one.
Yeah, truly. Truly.
No
What do you do?
excuse.
Unless they're watching on YouTube. Some people do only watch my shows on YouTube, which is strange.
Spotify.
Go to
Apple
CanadianPoliticsIsBoring.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And you can buy t-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite t-shirt of
Merchandise.
yours, Just Bad and Dumb.
Someone bought one
The
recently.
1 star.
Yeah. People, every time we get a bad review, we turn it into a t-shirt. And
I love it.
people buy them.
Encouraging people to like bad
exactly.
reviews.
We're going to monetize your hate.
So
Yeah,
we
exactly.
didn't really talk too much about it, but our podcast is about Rhys, a Welsh immigrant who's been here for 3 years teaching Canadian politics and history to an apathetic Canadian who truly doesn't give a shit and has forced all this education into my brain that I didn't.
Oh, there's
really
the elevator pitch. Yeah, that's right. We kind of tangent down.
Oh, I did call you a generic Canadian idiot the other time.
Thank you very much for that.
Generic.
That was a treat.
Which I take back.
No, you
It's
don't.
it's just the wrong topic. It's not your strong. Yeah.
That's great. And they can follow you on Instagram too.
Instagram and
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah.
Usually-
TikTok.
We're usually flexing on the gram.
Flexing on the
I
gram.
forgot about that. That was good. Yeah.
Are you guys on Twitter too?
Yeah.
Twitter? All the places. Follow them
All
and
the
check it
places,
out because these guys are great.
And Patreon. Definitely check us out on Patreon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them money. It's Christmas. Or Christmas is over, but it's New Year's Eve. Give.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much. Normally I have a bell that you ring. I'm going to Photoshop one in. So pretend that you're about to ring a bell. Do it together.
Ding. Sorry,
There we go.
I held my hand way too high in the air. It looked like an offensive salute.
There's more editing for
Do
me.
this.
That's it. We're done. We did it. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Intoxicated Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast app you use and leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can also give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Intoxicated Podcast and check out our video episodes on the Intoxicated YouTube channel. Until next week, feel hard and talk hard. Intoxicated Podcast is hosted and produced by Sarah McClellan, co-produced by Sarah Nicole, and brought to you by the messiness of life.
I'm Rhys, and I like sucking on toes. Toes of all shapes and sizes. Toes.
Oh, everybody's depressed. Next subject.